Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Call Me Mr. Broadstreet. You'll have noticed a little new look for me. I got these just recently for distance vision, so I'm not going to keep them on for the whole review, but just figured I'd show everybody. So, yeah, I've reached that point in my life where glasses are needed, so there you go. I'll decide in future reviews whether I want to keep them on throughout the review or not, but it'll probably ruin my eyesight. Anyway, so I'll go ahead and take these off. And today we're doing a review for Time Takes Time, 1992 Ringo Starr album. So I'm going to go ahead and hold up cover right here. Very cool looking cover. And of course, just a couple of the pages of lyrics. It's really just pages of lyrics and drawings of different animals that are that's in here, and then just a nice little back photo of Ringo right there for the CD. Now, a little story behind the CD. I remember buying it pretty much the year it was released. I almost want to say within a few months of release. It must have been a Tower Records somewhere in the D.C., Virginia area at the time where I was living. So I bought it, brought it home, and really an underrated album. I would put this as an essential album for Ringo, and also the fact that it just deserved a much better commercial fate than it ended up having. I'm going to refer to my notes in a second here, but basically unfortunately the album itself didn't chart in the US. United Kingdom, it didn't do much better, only at 101 out of the top 200. Again, just very surprising. A little bit of background for this record. It's the first record of all new material that Ringo had done since Stop and Smell the Roses in 1981 that was released in the United States. In between, he had been working with Paul on Paul's Tug of War, Pipes of Peace, and Give My Regards to Broadstreet, soundtrack and film, which I'll get to review later. If you saw my most previous review, then you saw the fact that Ringo also worked on Cloud 9 with George Harrison. So he's worked with quite a few different people during this time. So he wasn't just sitting at home, twiddling his thumbs. But sadly, with everything that had been going on with him, he did seek treatment for alcoholism, and I believe around late 1988 or early 1989 is when he entered treatment. He came out clear, sober for the first time in a long time, did a tour in 1989 with the All-Star Band. That was the first tour with the All-Star Band. So he's re-energized, ready to go, and he comes out with a very, very good, excellent, again, what I consider an essential album in 1992. I'll go over the tracks in a minute, but just basically with the album, I think it deserved a much better commercial fate, as I've said before. Personally, I think what should have been done, hindsight being 2020, no real pun intended, is that he should have released it, well, let's backtrack a little bit. 1987, George releases Cloud 9. 1988 or early 89, Ringo could have released Time Takes Time if he had, if everything had gone according to plan, at least in my head, would have been a nice 1-2 punch, followed by Flowers in the Dirt by Paul McCartney in middle of 1989. So again, I think a good 1-2-3 punch would have been great, but again, that didn't happen, and sadly, a really great record has gone under the radar, I think, in my opinion. So again, let me get to some of the tracks here. I'll just kind of go over, there's 10 tracks on the album. So Weight of the World, excellent track. Again, it's just a really great opener. It's kind of like hearing from an old friend. Okay, great, got the weight of the world on my shoulders. I want to go ahead and take it off. Get it off of my back. So it's a great line in the song, you either kiss the future or the past goodbye. Very, using the brain there. I really like that line. It's always stood out to me ever since I've listened to the album, which, by the way, doing the review, it's been a long time since I actually listened to the whole album, with all 10 tracks just back to back. So it was kind of a nice treat to really revisit this album. Second track is Don't Know a Thing About Love. Again, just very pleasant, kind of a Harrison-style slide guitar, kind of Beatlesque, so nice, pleasant. It leads in all right. Don't Go Where the Road Don't Go. Actually, I think this is the strongest track on the album. Weight of the World was the single that was released in this album when it came out. Really didn't do anything on the charts commercially. Don't Go Where the Road Don't Go, in my scenario, if it was released sometime in 1988 or 89, again, in that trio of albums, in that alternate timeline, if you will, I think that would have been the strongest track to go with. It's a standout, it's up-tempo. One line he says, well, I said it don't come easy. Well, I sure know how it feels. It kind of does a little part of It Don't Come Easy, kind of a little pastiche, I guess is the way to call it, of It Don't Come Easy. So a little callback to that track. This would have fit definitely on a 1973 or 1974 Ringo album. I think other folks have said that before. I want to say I've probably heard something like that either on Talk More Talk or the Two Legs podcast. So again, shout out to you guys, of course, as always. You continue to inspire me. So, and I think that's where I may have picked that up from. And if so, I forgot who said it. I hope I could credit them, but I agree. It would have fit on either one of those two albums. Another good line in the song, I don't remember many yesterdays. I left a lot of things undone. So again, just looking back, but he's like, all right, you know what? Time to go forward. I'm looking out for number one. People have trampled all over me. That's it. I got to look out for myself. We've all been there. We've all done that. We've all experienced that. So as I go on to the next track, Golden Blunders, not Golden Slumbers off of Abbey Road, but Golden Blunders. Nice track. We all screw up. I'm sure I've done it in the review. I've done it in past reviews. Kind of the universal message. Hey, it always comes in pairs. You're going to mess up things that you thought you'd never. See, I messed that up. So Golden Blunders. There we go. All in the Name of Love. Again, that's the 5th track on the album. Everybody knows it's all in the name of love. It's very much a peace and love vibe, which Ringo has been kind of doing the whole, peace and love chant for a long time. Interestingly, on that, I think I read somewhere in a group that might be kind of a mantra, like his way of holding things together, especially being clean and sober for the past at least 30 some odd years, however long it's been since 1988. So, I think that might be kind of clued into that kind of part of the track. A nice guitar solo on the song, so there we go. After all these years, kind of similar to Don't Go Where the Road Don't Go, track 3. Toe tapping, amiable track, traveling in a rock and roll band, it's in my blood. We had a lot of fun, we had some tears. So, again, kind of looking back, a nice overall track, good track, I think. Let's see, another track. This brings us up to next track. Let's see here, which is, that's the 6th track. After all these years, see, Golden Blunders, what can I say? I Don't Believe You. Here we go, track number 7. So, kind of sounds like the Monkees, actually. And, I mean that in a really great way. I mean, I think they, for a band that was meant to be quote-unquote a knockoff of the Beatles, they sure did have some great songs themselves. I remember seeing the Monkees TV show reruns back in 1986 on MTV as a Gen X. So again, very much that similar sound to it. Ringo meets the Monkees type of sound. No monkeys were harmed in the making of the track, as far as I know, or on the track. So there you go. But kind of being used by somebody. Again, kind of a Last Train to Clarksville vibe, I think is what I get from this track. It's the shortest song on the album itself. Runaways, track number 8, kind of a dark material. Basically, Children of the Damned, Children of the Night, a little darker material, basically about runaways, as it were. I think I remember reading something around that time where Ringo said, yeah, he was thinking of kids who had run away from home and maybe hoping they would hear the track and give their parents a call. Again, this is 1992, very much pre-internet, so, give a call on a payphone. I'm sure that message still applies no matter what, even today in today's technological world. So again, just a solid track, I think. In a Heartbeat, track number 9, we're getting towards the end of the album. It's a ballad, kind of an I'll Be There song with somebody. I take it as more of a love letter to his wife, Barbara. So that's kind of, I'll be there next to you. So that's kind of the vibe of the track there. What Goes Around is track number 10. It closes the album. Every heartache has its price. What goes around comes around. Again, just being left by somebody else. So that's kind of the review of the overall album. Again, I think essential, I would rate it to perfect to near perfect. It's a very pleasant album. I know a lot of the songs, might sound kind of similar to some folks. They do to me. But just the overall feeling of revisiting the album, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed just kind of taking a little time trip back. Again, I felt like I was back in that Tower Records in suburban Virginia, 1992, with these big red stairs for some reason. I seem to remember that. Wall-to-wall CDs and everything. It isn't like that anymore, of course, obviously. But again, I think it deserved a much better fate commercially. This is stronger to me than the next album, which he would release in 1998, Vertical Man, which I will get to in a future review. This is the one I always seem to gravitate towards when I want a post-1976 Ringo album, but pre-2000, if that makes any sense. And he's done a whole bunch of releases since Time Takes Time. But this is the one I really keep coming back to. I've always had a good vibe with it, even since I was a teenager buying the album. I'm probably the only one in my high school that owned a copy of the album while everybody was listening to other stuff. But, hey, never said I was normal. But anyways, thank you for bearing with me with the review. I appreciate it. Again, Time Takes Time, well worth grabbing if you can grab a physical copy, although they're probably not really around so much anymore. You can definitely download it onto any streaming service or any device. I know Apple Music definitely has a copy of the album, which I've already got on my device. So that's the review for Time Takes Time. And also just to let people know again, if you enjoy these reviews, please hit that bell, please give a thumbs up, please subscribe, please spread the word to other people. I enjoy doing these. I love doing these for people, whoever's listening out there. For my next review, what I'm going to do, it's going to be a book. I'll leave it as a little surprise, but let's just say it's going to be a book. It's going to be a quiz, but you're going to have an answer to some of the questions on the quiz. So just a nice little teaser there. Anyways, I hope everybody does well, and until the next review, take care.